Hello, dear viewers of the Star News channel. In today's issue, we will tell you about a truly impressive and for some even frightening news that has already traveled around the world and continues to stir the minds of military experts and ordinary people. China, according to a number of media reports and videos that appeared in the Chinese social network Weibo, has allegedly hidden an entire army of intercontinental ballistic missiles in a large-scale network of underground tunnels, which has been unofficially named the Underground Great Wall of China. According to preliminary estimates, we are talking about a complex about 5,000 kilometers long, and there may be up to 3,000 missiles ready for launch. In today's story, we will examine in detail what this network of tunnels is, why China decided to hide its nuclear potential in such impressive fortifications, and what military analysts say about it. And we will also discuss the reaction of the world community. Will this news really change the balance of power on the planet? And is everything so clear with these underground complexes? By tradition, we have collected for you all the latest comments, opinions of experts, and facts that will help you understand the scale of what is happening. A wide audience learned about the Underground Great Wall of China thanks to the publicized videos published in the Chinese social network Weibo. The footage shows combat vehicles and equipment resembling mobile ballistic missile launchers moving inside an extensive network of underground tunnels. Some eyewitnesses claim that it is inside these tunnels is located impressive in its scale arsenal of intercontinental ballistic missiles. Of course, such information could not but cause resonance. If we believe the claims about the presence of 3,000 missiles in these storages, then we are talking about a colossal part of China's strategic arsenal. Moreover, we are not just talking about static silos, but about mobile missile systems capable of moving into position and launching in response to a nuclear attack or other serious threat. This makes such underground infrastructure a key pillar of the People's Republic of China's nuclear deterrence strategy. There is very little official data on the establishment and operation of this tunnel network. Nevertheless, military analysts have speculated for years that the Chinese leadership has paid special attention to the development of underground infrastructure designed to protect the country's strategic facilities. According to some reports, it is in the depths of these tunnels that China stores not only missiles, but also command centers that allow it to control its troops in the event of a nuclear war. Speculation that there are multi-kilometer-long galleries in Chinese mountains and underground has existed since at least the early 2000s. However, there has been no confirmation or clear evidence for a long time. Now that footage of military equipment is in the public domain, military experts say that this may be the tip of the iceberg. If some tunnels have already been illuminated on the web, there may be other branches hidden from the public eye. Any country possessing nuclear weapons seeks to secure its arsenal against possible preventive strikes by the enemy. After all, nuclear strategy is not only about strikes, but also about guaranteed retaliation. If a potential enemy knows that your missiles are stored in fixed, easily detectable silos, he may try to launch a nuclear first strike against them and deprive you of the opportunity to respond. This is why many powers are developing mobile launcher systems, mobile railroad systems, and of course, deep underground tunnels. China, which has a relatively smaller, compared to the US and Russia, nuclear arsenal, has always relied on opaque deterrence. Traditionally, official data on the exact number of nuclear warheads in China have been classified, and any attempts to obtain this information have been suppressed. Therefore, the emergence of evidence of a large-scale underground fortification only confirms the thesis that China seeks to create a structure that is as survivable as possible, capable of surviving even after a powerful nuclear attack. According to some sources, the construction of this gigantic underground wall involved colossal engineering capacities. The tunnels are deep enough to withstand a direct hit by medium-yield nuclear warheads. In addition, special trucks with missiles and equipment for their maintenance can constantly move there. The question of the real number of Chinese missiles remains open. Some analysts argue that 3,000 is a grossly inflated figure. In their opinion, China does not yet possess such a number of deployed warheads, and especially cannot provide storage for so many mobile systems. Others, on the contrary, point to China's intensive military budget buildup and ample evidence that the country is actively investing in the development of strategic weapons. Even if the actual number of missiles is less than 3,000, the very idea that there could be several hundred or even 1,000 mobile systems underground, is already alarming. After all, this gives the Chinese armed forces a tremendous deterrence potential, allowing them to retaliate against any aggressor. Chinese government agencies have not yet commented on the images and reports that have appeared on the web. It is very likely that the Chinese authorities will neither confirm nor deny these data, leaving room for speculation. This policy of ambiguity is strategically convenient. A potential adversary cannot know exactly how many missiles the country has and where they are located. It is important to realize that China, like other nuclear powers, relied on mobile missile systems precisely so that the enemy would not have the opportunity to destroy them all in one strike. The US and Russia have mines and subs, but the PRC has developed railroad and road mobile platforms for decades. If these platforms are hidden deep underground, in the event of a potential conflict, they can be quickly removed through so-called portals, special camouflaged exits. From the outside, they can look like ordinary civilian facilities, tunnels, or even mountain passes. Within a short time, calculators can prepare a missile for launch and fire it toward the enemy. This makes it difficult for anyone trying to take out the PRC's entire arsenal with a first strike. The appearance of such news could not go unnoticed in the international arena. First of all, US think tanks and major world media drew attention to the growth of China's military potential. Washington has already repeatedly voiced concerns about China's growing nuclear arsenal, which according to Pentagon estimates could reach impressive numbers in the next decade. European countries, including US NATO allies, are also closely following such news. After all, a deterrence strategy based on an unknown number of missiles could affect global stability and the balance of power. Not everyone, however, sees this as a direct threat. Some experts believe that China is only trying to balance the capabilities of other nuclear powers, such as Russia and the United States, by preventing anyone from solving the issue of nuclear war with a single strike. An interesting point. Simultaneously with the information about China's underground complex, the media began to report on Iran's capabilities. According to some sources, Tehran has much more powerful than nuclear weapons, secret weapons, and promising projects in the field of missile engineering. Ibrahim Rostami, a former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, said Iran has independently built up enormous capabilities over the past decades. The IRGC leadership some time ago presented a secret naval military base with many boats along the walls. This facility, according to the Iranian military, symbolizes victory over Western sanctions pressure, proving Iran's ability to develop military technology on its own. The parallels between Iran and China are certainly not perfect. It is difficult to compare the military power of these states directly, but the trend itself indicates that more and more countries are trying to hide their weapons in underground bases to provide an element of surprise and reduce vulnerability. Looking a little deeper into history, the underground Great Wall of China is by no means a new invention. Back in the 1970s, the PRC was actively building tunnels and structures to protect itself from potential attacks from both the USSR and the US. Mao Zedong's policy at the time suggested that in the event of a nuclear war, the population should take shelter in underground shelters, and the military infrastructure should continue to function underground. Over time, these systems were improved, with more modern and deeper tunnels, ventilation shafts, and communication and control systems. Most likely in our time, this system is significantly modernized to meet the high technology and requirements of the 21st century. The emergence of mobile launchers for missiles capable of retaliatory strikes was only a logical continuation of this large-scale concept. The silence of Chinese officials in the context of such reports may be due to several reasons. First, Beijing traditionally does not disclose details about its strategic nuclear forces. Such secrecy is seen as an element of deterrence, allowing it to keep potential adversaries in the dark about the real number and location of missiles. Second, any admissions or clarifications could provoke a new wave of criticism or international pressure to force China to join nuclear arms limitation treaties similar to those between the United States and Russia. However, it cannot be ruled out that some of the information about the underground Great Wall is intentionally leaked into the public space to demonstrate the power of the Chinese armed forces. Sometimes the Chinese government can do this even without official statements, using indirect leaks in publications and social networks. Military analysts analyze different scenarios in which such underground complexes could be used. In the case of a limited conflict, when the enemy strikes China, it is possible that the central part of the infrastructure, command posts, missile installations, equipment, would remain safe inside the tunnels. Then when the threat has passed or a retaliatory strike is necessary, combat teams would move to the exits and launch missiles. A global nuclear confrontation scenario is of particular concern because the more survivable one country's nuclear weapon system becomes, the greater the risk of overall escalation. Parties may believe that their adversary is invulnerable to a first strike, and thus the likelihood of preventive or hasty action will increase. All of these are classic nuclear deterrence dilemmas that the world has been trying to solve for decades. Chinese military doctrine includes the principle of active defense. Its essence is that China does not seek aggression or seizure of foreign territories, but is ready to provide a quick and crushing response in case of an attack on its country. The existence of the underground Great Wall can serve as an ironclad confirmation of this philosophy. Instead of openly building up missiles on the surface, China is preparing a network of underground shelters, making its missile forces virtually invulnerable. In fact, this is what is worrisome. If the enemy realizes that China cannot be disarmed by a surprise attack, it could theoretically increase the risk of conflict situations, as each side would consider itself sufficiently protected not to compromise. History teaches us that nuclear parity can serve as both peace and a potential source of tension. Whatever the actual scale of China's underground tunnels, one thing is already clear. China is seriously preparing to secure its arsenal from any outside encroachment. Building and maintaining a network that reportedly spans 5,000 kilometers is an incredibly complex and costly project. If indeed up to 3,000 ICBMs are contained there, we are looking at perhaps the world's largest underground fortification system for strategic forces. While Beijing remains silent and the world community debates the possible consequences, key questions remain unanswered. Will it trigger a new arms race? Will international diplomacy be able to adapt to China's growing military power? And finally, how likely is it that other countries will follow China's lead and delve into large-scale construction of their own underground walls? We will, of course, continue to follow the developments to keep you, our esteemed viewers, updated on the latest news and analyze how they affect the global situation. This is Star News. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click on the bell to make sure you don't miss any important stories. Together, we'll be looking at some of the most interesting and big events that are shaping the world today.